resistance to what we see going on in the streets of America. I asked a question. I get it now with Trump feeding into that nonsense, giving him fodder or ammunition to continue to go out there and talk about our black women that way. I got it. I don't like that at all. I don't want to be associated with nothing like that.
A few moments later.
It's not a surprise. It's very disheartening. It's very concerning. We don't know where this is going to go, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everybody's better brace themselves because he's coming.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, today we have a little bit of I would say it's kind of a light, kind of a light-hearted topic, y'all. It's your boy, Stephen A. Smith, who took his foot and put it squarely in his mouth. Not once, but twice, but multiple times. Who knows how many? Now, how did he do that, y'all? How did he put his foot in his mouth once, twice, many, many times? He dared to say, y'all, get this. He dared to say that your girl, Jasmine Crockett, would get a lot farther with Donald Trump and do a lot better job for her constituents if she dropped the whole Trump is Hitler thing, if she dropped the whole ratchet sister girl thing and just tried to work across the aisle and get things done for her constituents. He dared to say that, y'all. Can you believe it? Can you believe that he would have the audacity to say that about Jasmine Crockett? Obviously, she knows what she's doing, y'all. She is the leader of the resistance against Trump. I mean, what does he think he's doing? Criticizing a leader, a resistance leader, a resistance fighter like Jasmine Crockett. And y'all, he got himself into all kinds of trouble. So much so that he found himself just yesterday having to apologize, y'all. They made Stephen A. Smith apologize to Crockett. And he couldn't really find a good reason why. You know, because there is everything he said is absolutely, even if we don't know if it's true, because we don't know if she would get farther if she did this or if she did that. We would think, it seems like it would be a better idea, but we don't know what the outcome would be, right? But it is good advice. Hey, look, if you want to get stuff done, stop insulting people, drop all of the shenanigans, and just get out there, do your job, right? I mean, it would seem like that would work. It would be a good strategy. We don't know what the outcome would be. So anyway, he points that out, and then the wolves, y'all, they come for him, and they make him apologize. And that was yesterday. And then he had an even worse day today, y'all, where some NBA players were caught up in 2 different gambling stings, one of which involving the, no joke, the New York Italian mafia, okay? And Stephen A. Smith tries to tie that back into Trump and his political talk. And it was almost worse than his apology to Jasmine Crockett, y'all. So we're going to take a look at both of those today, y'all. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. First, what we're going to do is see what his original comments about Crockett were, and then we'll get into the apology. But before we do, y'all, we have a new webpage for my people out there who are like, yo, I have money, but I don't want to give it away to the people who are trying to take it. How can I protect my retirement? Y'all, gold. How many times do I have to tell you? Gold has been man's longest monetary best friend for 5,000 years. I mean, what else are you looking for? Go to our webpage. Go to the new webpage, Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Get the information on how to protect your retirement. And you can call 844-651-8334 and speak to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Now let's go ahead and hop into this content.
You Jasmine Crockett or somebody like that. Ladies, I respect intelligent women, no doubt. But how a Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself, I'm like, is that gonna help your district text? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? I'm just gonna go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. She's supposed to be there to represent the people of Texas.
Now, y'all, as I said earlier, and as I said in the previous video about this, we really don't know what would happen if she dropped the ratchet thing and if she dropped the insults. I mean, maybe she would get further for her constituents. Maybe she wouldn't. It seems like a good strategy. I mean, it seems like your go-to strategy. Doesn't seem like insulting the person who might be able to help you is the best strategy, but we don't know, okay? We don't know. But again, it seems like the best strategy would be drop the insults, drop the ratchet, and try to get something done. Jasmine Crockett herself has said she hasn't introduced any legislation. None, okay? She said that. So, you know, take that for what it's worth. But they made old Stephen A. bend the knee because somehow, some way, what he said, he said he gave reasonable advice, but somehow he went astray, y'all. He went wrong, and there were people who disliked what he had to say.
I wanted to take a moment because I saw something disturbing in regards to President Donald Trump and how he came at Representative Jasmine Crockett. And I wanted to take this opportunity to attack this issue as it pertained to me and Jasmine Crockett, because I personally have had an issue with how things have been misconstrued and misinterpreted. But at the end of the day, I have to own it. And that's what I'm going to do today. And so when somebody says to me, Stephen, rather than point to her and her verbiage and her language and how she talked about the president, what about how he talks? I have no problem with that. I can understand that. And if that is the reason that everybody is in an uproar, that is fine. And I have no problem apologizing to my sister, because damn it, I want her to know I don't feel that way about her. I have no problem apologizing if I'm wrong. I have no problem apologizing if I've made somebody feel a certain kind of way. But I'm going to challenge the legitimacy of what people come at me with when I think that challenge is warranted and deserved. If you came to me and you said to me that it came across as a bit dismissive, Stephen, you should have been more protective of her than that, because look at how he speaks. Look at how they act on Capitol Hill towards her. I understand that.
So because he couldn't really find anything actually wrong with what he said, he had to circle around and try to blame it on Trump some kind of way and say, well, what did Trump say about her? Now, he either knows or should know, if he's going to make these comments, that Jasmine Crockett came onto all of our radar with insults, with ratchetness, etc. I mean, that's how she came onto our radar. So yeah, she was a congressperson before she took on that persona, but she wasn't on anybody's radar. So the idea that Trump is now insulting her back, now Stephen A. got to take her side. I don't know. I mean, frankly, I really don't care. I'm just keep it real. I really don't care. I think she's funny. I don't think she's very effective. I don't know how this is called fighting. I mean, if you're a child, maybe just insulting people is fighting. I don't know what the insults and the ratchetness does for the movement, whatever movement that happens to be. I don't know how that frees any people who are in the country without permission that she wants out of detention. I don't know how that gets people SNAP benefits. I don't know how that opens the government. I don't know how any of the insults or the ratchetness helps in any way, shape, or form, or what it's fighting at all. But there are people who do see that as fighting. So, you know, I guess you gotta give them their deference to how they want their representatives to fight for them. All I have to say is, for my representatives, you're gonna fight for me, bring some bacon home. I mean, if you're going to insult people and that's gonna bring home some bacon, you know, something I can eat, it's gonna bring home a car I can drive, it's gonna fix my potholes in my road, it's gonna help me get a job. If the insults are bringing home bacon, baby, insult it up. But if not, let's be professional, okay? Now, Stephen A., his apology tour was not done. He had to convince people that he knows where he went wrong.
We need resistance to what we see going on in the streets of America. I asked a question. I get it now with Trump feeding into that nonsense, giving him fodder or ammunition to continue to go out there and talk about our black women that way. I got it. I don't like that at all. I don't want to be associated with nothing like that.
All right, so all that went down yesterday. Stephen A. made himself into a bit of he put himself on the Crockett level, y'all. And then today, y'all, he came back and he topped himself, y'all. Now, am I a Stephen A. fan or not? Just to let y'all know, I only see him on social media. I don't watch basketball that much. And now, I used to watch sports, but now I spend all my time making YouTube videos for y'all. So he's just a person in the periphery, in the background. I don't, he's not somebody on my daily life, except for seeing him on X or whatever. But I did see this, y'all. So after some NBA players got caught up in a gambling sting, he tried to blame it on Trump, even though the investigation almost certainly started under the Biden administration. The Trump administration, they took credit. I mean, they did bring the investigation to the arrest that we see today. And people on the Trump side were absolutely livid with Stephen A. Smith for these comments.
How many times, for one incident after another, have I said, Trump is coming? He's coming. I'm going to say it on national television again. Bad Bunny is performing at the Super Bowl, and all of a sudden you hearing ICE is going to be there, looking to engage in mass deportations. The Super Bowl, disrupting things. Big night for the NBA. Wembanyama put on a show. That has now been smeared because we're talking about this story. It's as serious as it gets. This ain't the platform for me to get into it the way I'm going to get into it, but I've been saying he's coming. He's coming because in his eyes, folks try to throw him in jail. In his eyes, he's innocent. They try to put me behind bars. I'm getting everybody. He's not playing. And so this, in a lot of people's eyes, talk to people in the NBA, talk to people in the NFL, talk to people in the world of sports. They think this is like the tip of the iceberg. These are the kind of words that are coming out of people's mouths. It's not a surprise. It's very disheartening. It's very concerning. We don't know where this is going to go, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. Everybody's better brace themselves because he's coming.
So what can we call that, y'all? Can we call that a and one? Stephen A. Smith got the bucket yesterday and one today. So my man got an and one on himself, y'all. Now look, y'all, I personally feel like, and they're talking about Stephen A. Smith for president, for like a candidate for president. Man, after this apology to Jasmine Crockett, what is he gonna run as an independent? Because the Democrats are not going to have him, and the Republicans are definitely not going to have him after he apologized to Crockett. Say he needs a protector. From who? So anyway, y'all, let me know what y'all think about this. Do you watch Stephen A? Do you agree with his apology? Do you think he shouldn't have apologized? Let me know down in the comments, y'all. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button. Share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. To my people in retirement, go down, click the link below, Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Get the information on protecting your retirement from the upsies, downsies, the roundsies, and the roundsies. And you can reach out to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all. And we'll see you back in the next one. If there's a person with a lot of power and that person is a disagreeable person, well, yeah, you need to go and figure out a way to work with that person. It's not about your pride. It's not about, all it's about is getting for your constituents what they need. Now, if the argument is, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter how humble you are. It doesn't matter what you do. That person will never work with you. That's a different argument. I mean, we don't know the future. We don't know what a person would do, but we do know that you should try. I mean, at least that's my perspective. But with this next set of comments, Stephen A. Smith actually changed a bit, and he's not talking about go out there and try to work with the people who can help your constituents. I'm not saying he didn't mention that at all, but with this comment we just listened to, it's how you talk and how you present yourself. That's a little bit different. We've all noticed that Jasmine Crockett gets ratchet with how she talks. We've all noticed it. I've commented on it. I think it's funny. I don't think it's effective at all, but people like it, so whatever. They like what they like. But it's not the same conversation as working with somebody who you find disagreeable, who you find to be even opposed to you, with trying to work with that person. So those are two different conversations. One is her dialect, her enunciation, her choice of words, her grammar. That's one thing. The other thing is trying to work with somebody who you find to be disagreeable. Okay. And I do think you should try to work with the people you find to be disagreeable. I don't necessarily think you have to use any particular kind of dialect. Okay. If she talks like that, if that's how she wants to talk, she sounds ridiculous to me. But hey, that's her decision. People should still work with her as the chosen representative. Now, would she be more effective with a more traditionally proper? She knows how to talk properly, right? So would she be more effective? I don't know. Again, I don't know. But she does make herself sound quite clownish quite often, in my opinion. Now, there have been various people commenting on this controversy, one of which is Bakari Sellers. Now, I don't know a lot about him. I'm just going to play his comments. I'm going to let you listen to his comments. He gives us an opportunity to dive into two logical fallacies that he makes here. Now, I did not watch this entire podcast, so I'm not gonna represent this as all he said. Okay, I got this from the Breakfast Club. This is what they showed me. I'm not about to watch the whole podcast. You go check it out if you want to hear his entire comments in context. So I'm just gonna say one logical fallacy that seems to be happening here, but I didn't see the whole context, seems to be ad hominem, where you point out the people and you try to attack the person as opposed to attacking their ideas or their propositions or what they're saying, okay? So you say, well, hold up. Didn't you cheat on your wife? So somebody says to you, hey, man, you shouldn't park there. That's not the right parking spot. And you say, oh, so says the wife cheater. It's like, okay, does that mean that that's a good parking spot because you called me? You know what I mean? That's ad hominem. Another logical fallacy that it seems like Mr. Sellers is making here is the no true Scotsman fallacy, y'all. Okay. It's when you redefine a category to exclude counterexamples. That's what you're going to notice Bakari Sellers do here today. That's what people do so often whenever they have a movement. They do it with Christianity. Oh, no true Christian would do that. They do it with, Bakari Sellers going to do it here. You're going to see a prime example of that. No true freedom fighter would ever say those things. No person who's for the cause would ever have that opinion. It's just the no true Scotsman fallacy.
There is a through line between the Ice Cubes and the Jason Whitlocks and the Stephen A. Smiths. These individuals have been around since we have been on this freedom struggle. There have always been individuals out there which exhibit behaviors of charlatans who utilize, some people are in it for the change and some people are in it for the change, right? And I think that that's indicative. And they find the easiest path to the front of the line. And Stephen A. Smith is someone who doesn't have the depth to talk about House oversight or the appropriations process, right? And how you're able to bring resources back to your community or what Jasmine is doing. So he rather lampoon her.
And now we'll go to Charlemagne the God. Charlemagne the God, okay? He's going to give you a prime example of whataboutism, okay? This is whataboutism. Y'all have heard me talk about this before. See, the claim is, hey, Jasmine Crockett, she shouldn't talk like that. She shouldn't express herself like that. And then he says, well, what about Trump? Doesn't Trump do that? Okay, this is what about it. Just because one person can do something successfully doesn't mean that everybody can do that. It doesn't even mean anybody else can successfully do the same thing. Okay, now we could define what success means, but just because one person can do it, just because one person can do it, just because one person is allowed to do it, doesn't mean that everybody can do it. Doesn't mean it will work equally well for everybody. This is something that we all should learn as kids, right?
As far as what he said about Jasmine Crockett, and me and Stephen A. spoke about this behind the scenes this week, but I don't think any elected official is above critique, but you got to criticize their policy. And it seems like Stephen A. is criticizing her style. And if you are criticizing her style and telling her she needs to change her style to be able to get things done, but also saying that, also telling her to do that, to get things done with one of the most uncouth political figures ever in Donald Trump, then I got to say that, you bugging. All right. Trump talks crazy.
And here we have another example of whataboutism from D.L. Hughley. He's going to say, hey, Stephen A., you're saying that to Jasmine, but what about Trump? Whenever you hear what about, or if you can easily insert a what about him, what about her, what about this, what about that, you got whataboutism. It's a logical fallacy. Just because somebody criticizes one person doesn't mean they have to criticize anybody else. They can live their entire life only criticizing one person. You have to judge the criticism for the merits of the criticism, not based on how many people who might be susceptible to the same criticism that person criticizes. If y'all are following me, then you're a high level, you're a high functioning person. Okay. So another example of whataboutism.
It's interesting that he chose Jasmine Crockett. Now, she doesn't serve in any leadership position. She's in the minority party. I wonder why he didn't single out, for instance, the president of the United States. And is he serving his constituents, the people that voted for him, by, I don't know, attacking a comedian and maligning a comedian, or maligning the opposition, the Democratic Party, or rambling in front of generals and the Navy? How is his constituents served? Does he serve his constituents like Mike Johnson, who constantly calls recesses so he won't have to deal of the matters of Congress? Or Jim Jordan, who's been in Congress for 18 years and never has written one piece of legislation in 18 years. I wonder why it isn't those people that he singled out. We're never going to argue about the efficacy of Congress. I think we have an agreement there. I think that they are not effective. I think that they don't do the job.
That's like people's favorite thing to do. What about Trump? Okay. And now we're going to give you the most low-key comment that makes, in my opinion, the most sense of everything I've heard anybody say about this topic. And that comes from good old DJ Envy. He just said, well, how do her constituents feel about this? Because that's the primary argument of Stephen A. Smith. Hey, you're supposed to be getting the bacon for your people. Well, if the people feel like their plates are filled with bacon from Jasmine Crockett, then case closed, right? I mean, if they're happy with the job she's doing, then case closed.
When you're talking about policy, it should be somebody from her district that has that problem. Somebody that is affected by the things that she's doing. And if her district doesn't have a problem with it and her district loves it, that means she's doing the job that they voted for her to do.
Yeah.
So my take on this whole thing is, I get where Stephen A. Smith is coming from with his comments about working with power, working with people who are disagreeable, working with the opposition in order to bring home the bacon for your people. I get it, and I agree. The way she expresses herself, I find it funny. I find it buffoonish sometimes, but hey, if that's what she wants to do, that's on her. I don't care. I mean, I'll laugh at it, because I find it funny. But maybe she's doing it to be funny. Maybe she's doing it to be attention grabbing. We're talking about her and not other people, right? So it works. And I outright reject the no true Scotsman fallacy. The whole, oh, well, if you were really down with this, you wouldn't do that. I reject it. The whataboutism, oh, well, why don't you talk about reject it? Oh, well, such and such does that. Reject it. And the only real legitimate, in my opinion, the only real legitimate retort or response that I've heard is, well, how do her constituents feel about that? Right? If they like it, then they like it. Okay, that's all that matters. You can vote for who you like, and her people can vote for her if they like her.